I'm from Ningbo Polytechnic and Research Institute of Vocational Education. Now, today I will introduce some practice in Chinese, especially in China, especially in the Polytechnic in China, especially in Ningbo Polytechnic. So there are mainly three parts of my presentation. Firstly, I asked 4.0 and the development of the industry in China. Secondly, the request on activity from IR for point in China and responses of activity in China kept in my polytechnic, Ningbo Polytechnic. So I will finish my presentation in the given time. Firstly, we all know that in 2012, Germany launched the concept of IR 4.0, and in its manufacturing sectors, 3 years later, in 2015, maybe a similar Chinese initiative, or the Made in China 2025 promulgated. Now, we all know that Made in China is the first 10 years. In the first 10 years, the action plan designed to transform China from a manufacturing country to which relies on low-cost labor into a world manufacturing power, which means to stimulate the innovation of the manufacturing and the industry. So there are about 9 tasks. Maybe we can see that in the Made in China 2025. Firstly, improving the manufacturing innovation. Secondly, integrating technology and industry. Thirdly, strengthening the industrial base. Fourth, fostering Chinese brand. There are many 9 tasks. We can ignore that. There are about 5 guidelines. 5 guidelines is very important, which we have some maybe request on the TVT, on the education area, TVT area. So firstly, innovation driven. Secondly, giving priority to quality. Thirdly, green development. And fourthly, optimizing structure. And the last one is talent-oriented, especially the last one, talent-oriented, which means polytechnics, vocational colleges have to be trained students, trained talents, which will be different from the past. And there are about 8 support measures. Firstly, deepening the institutional reform, and we can see the red one, which we have to improving the multi-level talent training system. That's to say, in the secondary level, tertiary level, especially vocational education, technical education, we have to train talents for the industry sectors. So we can say that there are some requests on activity from Made in China 2025. There are maybe 5 aspects. Firstly, strengthening TVT system and skills training. Secondly, encouraging institution enterprise cooperation. Thirdly, establishing a batch of training bases. Firstly, launch modern apprenticeship programs. The last one is cultivating a team of skilled technicians. We all know that from TVET institutions, maybe colleges, polytechnics, we could not train students just on the campus. We have to cooperation with industry, with factories to train students, to train their practical abilities, skills. So next, we can see that the Made in China 2025, there are different requests on TVT. First, on individuals, comprehensive knowledge and practical skills, innovative abilities, green skills, and on TVT system or on TVT institutions, integration of industry and education. As I mentioned just now, TVT institutions or polytechnic colleges cannot train students just on campus. We have to cooperation with industry. Secondly, cooperation with institutions and enterprises, and interdisciplinary training. That's to say, students graduate from polytechnics or colleges. We have to gain different abilities from different discipline and cultivate innovative abilities and green skills. Next, I will introduce some practice in my institutions, cases in Ningbo Polytechnic, and maybe some aspects I will introduce to you. Firstly, in Ningbo Polytechnic, we strengthening the cooperation between with the government and the enterprises. The Polytechnic cooperation with the government and enterprises. Secondly, training talents interdisciplinarily. And thirdly, cultivate innovative abilities on campus, and emphasizing the green skills. And last one, TVT research service to institutional development. Firstly, that's the location of Ningbo Polytechnic. It's located in economic zone, which have about five industry parks around the campus. So there are many enterprises, factories, companies around the Polytechnic. So we have many enterprises to cooperate to train students, and we adhere to some servicing ideas, servicing the growth and development of students, adhere to servicing the development of the local economy and enterprises, and serving the professional development of faculties. Now, firstly, to cater for the needs of the development of the industry, the Polytechnic strengthening the cooperation with the government and the enterprises. We have a council in the Polytechnic, which consists of 9 units, including the government, the industry association, and the enterprises. And different units have different functions. For example, the governments, they raise money, fund the running of the Polytechnic, and the association of industry and the enterprises, we provide some training basis for the Polytechnic. So we could cooperation with the enterprises and the factory to train students together. And with the assistance of the government and the enterprises, we establish a digital tech part we have 2 campuses. One is a teaching campus, another is a digital part. There are about nearly 300 enterprises enrolled in the tech park. So all the enterprises, we can cooperate with them and train our students. And it's a case from Ningbo Polytechnic, platform for joint cooperation in talent training with enterprises. In the Polytechnic, there a company which is a giant company of manufacturing and invested about 10 million yuan to build a training building for the polytechnic and training students. Enterprises provide equipment to the polytechnic, and students may use the equipment to practice the practical abilities. Now, the cooperation between the enterprises or Hating group lasts for more than 10 years, and about more than 10 years, more than 1,600 graduates from the polytechnic now working in the group, and basically help the enterprises to improve its human resources and help the group to get skilled works. And another case is encouraging teachers to conduct on enterprise demand research, co-research with the fellows from industry. We all know that in higher education or in the university, in the polytechnic, the teachers have to do some research. Now, teachers in our polytechnic, the polytechnic encourage the teachers to do some research, do some cooperation research with the factories, the enterprises, so that the research problems are from the enterprises, and all enterprises need oriented. So now there are two interesting items or projects in Ningbo Polytechnic. One is plant technology services. That's to say, just like plant trees, plant flowers. Teachers, if teachers do some research, get some new technologies, okay, plant your knowledge, technologies into the practice, into the enterprise or factories, and make your technology become a new production. Then you can get the profit and help the enterprises or factories to get better. And another project is also very interesting, which is called Clinic for Enterprises. That's to say, teachers in Ningbo Polytechnic, just like a doctor in the hospital, and the patient may be a factory or enterprises. If the enterprises or factory have any question or problem, okay, you can ask the doctor. The doctor is the teacher, and if the teacher, maybe the teacher do some research about the problem and help the factory or help the enterprises to solve the problem. So through the two projects or the items, a lot of teachers get chances to serve to the development of factories, and at the same time, the teachers' research ability, practical ability get improved, and also with the abilities improved, the teachers' ability improved, the students' training the quality of students gets better and better, and. Another case is in thank you. Is applied chemical engineer technical services. The cooperation appoint teachers to be part-time chief engineers in enterprises, and lead teams to develop products and improving techniques, and the achievement is great. Firstly, enterprises become a group company, and second, jointly establish the Ningbo Engineer Center and two research institutions, and formed a tight industry college research base. And we also in Ningbo Polytechnic, we also training talents interdisciplinarily. That's the organizational chart of Ningbo Polytechnic, with one general education department and six department for ICT, art, and electronic and chemical, but all the departments, all the programs may be linked to each other. For example, we train, you know, it's very maybe it's developed very fast. E-commerce industry developed very fast in China. So we established a department of cross-border e-commerce. But this department is a virtual but comprehensive department. That's to say, ICT, art, business, and international department togetherly establish the department of a cross-border e-commerce department. Teachers are from the full department, train students together, and students may accept training interdisciplinarily. And next, training students on campus, training students' innovative abilities. For the limited time, I will just show that. And emphasizing the green skills education. That's to say, now the Polytechnic has paid attention to cultivating students' sustainable development ability and to cultivating awareness of energy conservation and cultivating awareness of safety and green operating. But how to say that we have paid attention on the green skills, and it's just the beginning. And lastly, we have a research institute. For we all know that practical is practical, research is research. Research have to serve to the development of practice. So we set a research institute. That's my institute, Institute of Higher Education, mainly do some research of the development of TVET and do some institutional research and to help the Polytechnic to solve the problems in students' training. We also do some research of TVET in developing countries. So this year we also do some research about TVET in Bangladesh. So we can do some research together. Okay, thank you. That's my presentation. Welcome to Ningbo. Okay.